Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at some news we got just yesterday out of the state of Nebraska. We're going to get right into it today. Nebraska, Don Bacon, the Republican congressman from the 2nd District of that state, is calling it quits after a couple of terms in Congress. He is retiring. Now, this is a pretty big development for the battle for the House of Representatives this upcoming midterm, as Don Bacon represents a competitive seat. It's a seat that's actually been incredibly competitive going back to 2012 and 2014, and Democrats have been on the losing side of many battles, especially to Bacon in a number of cycles. So let's talk about it. Bacon, again, just to kind of give you an idea of where he comes from, we'll start with 2016, which is when he first won. He comes from Omaha. So, again, Nebraska, we typically think of it as being a red state, which is fully correct. But, it varies, right? Like out here in rural Nebraska, you have deep red territory. It's among the reddest. I think this district is among the reddest congressional districts in the country. It's still red, but it's a bit lighter out in, kind of the exurbs, maybe in the Lincoln area. And then Omaha has been competitive to even Democratic leaning in the past few cycles. So to start out in 2016, just to kind of show you, I thought this is very funny. There are a few congressional districts that have been so consistently competitive in the past decade, but this is 2016. This is, as you can see, this is the original Trump versus Clinton election. 2016, this is a Republican flip. Don Bacon beat Brad Ashford, the incumbent Democrat, by around 4,000 votes, really by 3,500 actually. 2018, it was a blue wave. Democrats did well in the Midwest that year, but Bacon held on. He won by around 5,000 votes against Kara Eastman, and he won. In the subsequent 2020 election, he did the same thing. He beat Kara Eastman by 4%. It was a lot less competitive that time. This was the least competitive Nebraska 2nd District election we've had in the past, I think, 12 years, or really in the past 6 or 7 cycles, I think. And Don Bacon, again, he won by 4.5 here against Eastman. Then Democrats ran Tony Vargas in 2022. And Vargas, again, the district was redrawn. I'll talk about that in a second. But Vargas, he only lost by 2%. It was actually, I believe, a margin of a little less than that when it was all said and done. In 2024, a lot of people thought Vargas was going to win. He was actually viewed as a narrow favorite, but he went down by a similar margin, or it was around a little less than 6,000 votes. So this has been very close, going back to 2016 even, and it's been trending, presidentially, this district has been trending to the left of the country for a couple cycles in a row, but Democrats have not been able to knock off Don Bacon, who has established himself as a pretty strong Republican incumbent. So Bacon retiring, giving the seat, making it open, is a pretty big deal, and I think a lot of Democrats are rightly optimistic about this. Now, this is just one House seats, and it would be like, I'm not saying this is going to literally decide the, battle for control of the House, but it's still worth talking about, right? Democrats need in 2026 for 2026 to be a successful year for them. I think on top of Democrats winning back the House, they have to win it back, not just by the skin of their teeth, by, getting 225 or more seats. I think that should be at least the bare minimum for the party. That would be a pickup of just 10 seats. And again, that could change if Republicans decide to redraw in Ohio or Texas. I'll talk about that. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it on this channel. But broadly speaking, Democrats should be winning in a blue wave, or in what could potentially be a blue wave midterm, at the very least a Democratic leaning environment in a midterm. They should be winning seats that Kamala Harris carried, right? In 2024, Democrats did not do well federally. They lost the popular vote at the presidential level for the first time in 2 decades. So certainly you would hope that that in 2026 you can win seats that you carried presidentially, even in 2024, which was broadly a bad cycle for the party. And so without Don Bacon, Republicans lose an incumbent who's been able to win in a number of difficult environments, right? In 2016, Hillary Clinton did lose the seat, but it was quite close. But in 2020, what Bacon did was actually really impressive in this old district. This was a Biden plus 7 seat. I think maybe even Biden plus 8. And Bacon won it by well over 4%. Granted, Kara Eastman was not a very strong candidate. She was probably one of the weaker candidates Democrats fielded that entire cycle. But, broadly speaking, Bacon outran Trump by I think by 11 or 12 points here, or something close to that. And then in 2024, the district was redrawn. It got about a couple points redder. It was around Harris plus 4, But despite that, Bacon still won by 2. So he outran by 5, 6, 7% in 2024, roughly. I don't know the exact margin, so I don't want to lie, but it was, I think, around 5%. I think it was around 6%. And so, that goes to show he was a talented incumbent. He was good at winning over just enough Democratic voters. And so without him, the race gets shakier for Republicans. And I do think Democrats are favored to flip this district, right? Just to, I actually think Bacon could very well have lost, which is maybe why he's retiring. But this is a seat that Republicans won by 2% in a Trump plus 1.5 year, right? So it was maybe with Bacon half a point to the right of the country. And just, not even talking about candidate quality or not even talking about any other factors, like, I guess just assuming that 2024 or 2026 is even a D+1 or D+2 type of environment, meaning Democrats win the popular vote by just 1 or 2, which is not very much. Even then, Democrats probably be favored to win back the seat by a couple of points. And that's with Don Bacon, who did well in 2024. Without Don Bacon, it could get lopsided real fast. And you can look at it presidentially, too. Kamala Harris won it by 4. So I guess if you want to compare apples to apples to get more specific, Trump won the country by 1.5. Harris won it by 4, so it was 6.5, a little less than that, percent to the right of the country, or percent to the right of the country. Presidentially, 6.5 to the right of the country, 6.5 to the left of the country. In a D+1 or D+2 year, you're looking at an 8 or 9 point victory for Democrats without Don Bacon being factored in. And obviously, I'm not saying Democrats are going to win by 9 points here, but I do think that without Bacon, Republicans are underdogs in this district. And again, just to talk a little bit more about what this district actually looks like, right? I guess we can actually zoom in on it a little bit here. This is left trending, right? Kamala Harris she didn't knock it out of the park here, but this is broadly a left trending district. It was about a 4.5 point victory for her. And Douglas County, which is where Omaha is, moved significantly to the left in the past decade. Sarpy County, which wasn't great for Harris, but has gotten bluer. These are suburbs that are growing. They're college educated. They are exactly the type of area that the Democratic Party has found success in during the Trump era of American politics. So, and again, it goes to show Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2. Kamala Harris lost it by 1.5. So Kamala Harris did worse nationally by a fair amount than Hillary Clinton. Kamala Harris still won this district, which Hillary Clinton lost in 2016. The boundaries are a little different, but actually the version of the district that Hillary Clinton lost in 2016 was bluer. So Harris would have won the older version by, I think, 2 points more. And again, people talk compare the, people will talk about this presidential map and say Trump won every state that he won in 2016 plus Nevada, which is true. He did not win the one electoral vote that went for Trump in 2016 that did not go for him in 2024 came in Nebraska, and it came in that second district. So I guess maybe an overlooked fact, but it does go to show this district is moving left and fast. And so with that, I think it's actually quite reasonable to project to predict and to expect even that Democrats are favored to win back this district. So again, let me know what you think about this retirement. Let me know who you think is going to win. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all next time.